Hi guys, welcome to Subscribers Draw My Nails episode 19. This is a Halloween edition. If you are new here, this is the series where you guys draw me a nail design and I try my best to recreate it in real life. I feel like I say this every time, but every time it is true that there were so many good drawings that I ended up doing almost 3 times as many designs than I set out to initially do. And how this Draw My Nails is going to go is going to be a little bit different than how it usually does. So you guys know with the series that a lot of the time these nails end up as more of little mini art sculptures. They're very intricate and often, honestly, very fragile. So unfortunately, a lot of the time I cannot actually end up wearing these nails in like my day-to-day life. And I love Halloween, so I wanted to actually be able to wear your guys' designs. So what I've done is at first I chose 10 designs that were just nail art. No sculpting, no aquarium, nothing like that to do on my nails, so that way I can actually wear these nails for Halloween. And then I chose 3 nails that could not really be worn in my day-to-day life to do, and these ones have, like a dangly charm, sculpting, fragile little things on them that have to just be admired and can't actually really be worn without being at a risk of breaking. If you've watched my channel before, you know I don't really do voiceovers. I really like to talk while I'm doing things, but this time for these nails right here, I'm going to just tell you how I did them right now and tell you my process and show you what I did. And I did it this way because in order to get this many nails done, I couldn't talk in real time through all of them. So I really just stuck to the more intricate and sculpted nails for that. And since those nails do take quite a bit longer, we can admire these 10 designs while I do them. Before we get into those 10 designs that I'm wearing right now, I do want to make sure to thank everyone who does submit a design. I can't do these videos without you guys and I appreciate it so much. So without further ado, let's get into the first design that I chose to do. Our first design is by Willow Danielle, and this is a Nightmare Before Christmas silhouette nail, and I just love the silhouette style of this. It's really simple but really legible. Like, we all know exactly what that hill is. So their notes were Nightmare Before Christmas Jack silhouette, and the white stars is a glitter polish. If you have a magnetic one, that would be cool. So to create this nail, I did start with a square tip. I know they kind of have a coffin going on, but I just wanted more room for everything. So I started with a orange gel by Nails by Dev. I felt like this was the perfect orange color, and I wanted to do that kind of like ombre that they had going on. So I used some blooming gel and I kind of just did a swirling effect with that. It didn't need to be perfect. And then they said cat's eye. You guys know I love cat's eye. So I used this gold cat's eye by Nail Couture, and this one has glitter in it also. It has more of like a green shift for the glitter, but I felt like that was perfect because, like orange and Halloween. And I tried to push like all of the magnetic pieces towards the center. Getting into the silhouette, I started with the Nails by Dev Baddest Black Liner, and this worked so well. I'm using some of her brushes as well, and I felt like I had a really easy time with this hill. This is definitely a design that literally anyone can do. Then to fill in the hill, I went in with my F gel black that I will pretty much be using throughout this whole video. Same with the black liner. I used these same 2 blacks through the whole video, and I absolutely love how this came out. I hope it's exactly like how they pictured it. I think this design would also be beautiful in a ton of different colors with a bunch of different simple silhouettes from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Can you imagine like a whole set of just different ones? I would love that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Getting into our second design, this one is from Holly and is a Purge mask, which we know is like a neon glowing mask. And their notes was, this is supposed to be a coffin ballerina shape with a Purge inspired design. So I started off with a coffin nail, and this was definitely way too long. I ended up cutting it down a bit, but I just wanted to make sure I had extra room to do my design. And neon nail art is actually pretty simple. First you put down your design in white, and then you want to go over that with your color, but you want to make sure it's a really sheer color. So I mixed a jelly with a top coat to sheer it down even more. However, I do wish that I had done this with white before and then did a color on top to make it look like it glowed a lot more than it did. So if I were to go back and do this design, that's what I would do. But I feel like it still looked good. So I put that purple over everywhere I had placed my white line down, and then I went back and put another white line on top of that, and that gives it the glow effect. I personally feel like The glow effect looks amazing in matte, so that's what I used. And again, I do wish I had done a layer of the white spread out before I put the color down, but I still really like how it came out. The third design is from Purge, and this is a French tip with some chrome blood. Their note said the blood needs to be chrome, and that the dark behind the blood was a shadow thing, and they said it's pretty basic, but they like it, and I also like it. These designs do not need to be like crazy intricate for me to want to do them. I love doing the sculpted nails, and I love all the crazy nail art, but I also do like the simple designs, and I want to make sure if you guys have simple designs to still submit them, because I do love them. I pretty much had a perfect match for my base with the Bevla gel that I had, and I'm really proud of how this French tip came out. Doing the center line made it a lot easier to make the tip even. Now when it came down to doing the blood drips part, I kind of went off script a little bit, and they said chrome, but I had this red hollow powder from Glitter Planet and it looked so pretty, so I used that, and kind of from afar it still does just look chrome, but then you get up and you can see all of the hollow reflect in there. I wasn't quite sure what they meant by the shadow thing. I don't know if they meant that the blood was like raised up a little bit or if they wanted me to add a shadow, but because the blood drips were a bit thicker, I just left off the shadow because I didn't feel like I would be able to convey that really well. And lastly, I just went in with my dedicated powder top coat so I don't contaminate any of my other top coats with some red hollow powder. Next up, we have a really cool kind of like more abstract Halloween design, and this is from Annie.art account, and their notes were extra large square tip glossy top coat, and I felt like otherwise it was pretty self-explanatory. So I started off with this green from a Prey because this is super neon green and it matched perfectly. I'm not sure if they were inspired by Beetlejuice for this design, but I do feel like just the green and the stripes kind of gave it that vibe. I really love how the black and white stripes look kind of as a French tip or abstract tip. I feel like that would look really cool on a whole set. Again, a lot of these designs would look amazing on a full set. And then I just did a bunch of eyes, and I don't know about you guys, but I feel like my circles are getting much better. These actually look like eyes. The only thing I didn't feel like I could do really well was add the like blood vessels in there, just because these were so tiny, and I didn't really want to outline the eyes just because I feel like then it wouldn't have looked as good, because I can't outline in a perfect circle. I feel like I can color block in circles now, but outlining is definitely not there yet. And then of course finishing off with a glossy top coat as they wanted, and it looked so cool. The last design on my left hand is from Boy in Red, and there are always a lot of Scream designs, I feel like, in my Halloween episodes as well as regular episodes, so I definitely wanted to do one, and I like that this one was clear. I don't get a lot of clear nails submitted. So first I started off with the blood splatter, and I've gotten down to a pretty solid method for doing blood splatter looking designs that I will explain in detail in one of the sculpted designs later on. I felt like their particular drawing of the Scream mask also made me feel like I could do it, even though it was very small on my pinky nail, and I feel like it turned out pretty good. They didn't specify a top coat, so I just went and actually did a matte top coat just because I love that frosted glass look, and I think it just worked perfectly with this. And now on to our sixth design. This design took me the longest out of all 10 nail art drawing designs that I did. I think that this one took me about 3 hours. I know, all on its own. But you guys know how I am with character nail arts, and this is a Coraline nail by Alani. So they specified that the thing in her hair is supposed to be a purple/pink gold dragonfly pin, and the background is supposed to be glittery clear gel. So to me that means like a jelly gel. So I went in with my Secret Nail Affair jelly gels and some of their ice gels. Their jelly gels have glitter in them and, you know, are transparent clearish. These are my favorite, of course, as usual. And the ice gels are also very sparkly and shimmery, but also have a transparent aspect to them. I'm assuming that the background on this is the tunnel that she's like crawling through. And so all of these different colors, I kind of just went in and swirled it around, not being like super precise because I feel like it kind of all meshes together, but it looked really cool all on its own too, even without any other nail art on top. But now getting to the hard part, I started by blocking out the face in white, and I was making sure to do a base coat between heavy layers to make sure that everything stays smooth. But really the blocking out was the easy part on this. When I started getting to the face is where I really was struggling. The eyes, that tiny, were really difficult, and I tried many times over on the eyes. I think that the eyes would have ended up looking a little bit more legible if they were button eyes, but alas, they were not, and we're following the design. And thankfully, one of my new brushes from Nails by Def is the skinniest little liner brush, so I was able to do those little details like the nose and the lips and the outline of the eyes, the eyebrows, and the freckles to my best of my ability. I feel like, once again, everything looked alright except the eyes. I feel like the eyes just threw it off a little bit, made it look a little bit off brand. I, however, did omit two things from this design, and that is the word Coraline. I tried, but it just was not working out, and I didn't want it to look bad or just like gibberish. And I also did not do the dragonfly pin. I know that the dragonflies are like a staple in Coraline, but I again just didn't think I could actually achieve it. But I still wanted to do this design. Just because I can't do every little part of it didn't mean I didn't want to do it. So in the end, I just did the buttons and put on my top coat, and I feel like it's one of my better attempts so far at a character nail art. I'm still really proud of it, and hopefully at some point I will improve far beyond this. But regardless of my skill, I absolutely love the design, and I was happy with how this came out after my hours of work. Now, in the theme with like sort of creepy claymation, our next design is by Nails by Christina Hope, and this is a corpse bride inspired nail. Their note said, in the drawing I have a dark blue French color as a base and then a cat's eye on top of the blue French to make it a little bit more magical. I loved how simple this is, and if you looked at it, you may not know that it was a corpse bride nail, but if you do know it's a corpse bride nail, you absolutely see it in that. So for this, I started off with a milky white base because their design had a like white airbrush type there, and I didn't want it to be a super stark white. I felt like the milky white made it very like mystical. So I used Ball Bit Nails Boothing gel as the base for the French tip. This has little sparkles in it, so I thought it would be the perfect base. However, I didn't use a cat's eye. I know, shocking, I always use cat's eye, but I used some of the ice gels from Secret Nail Affair because I feel like these are very magical. These have so much dimension and shift to them. I felt like they would work here so well and really achieve that like magical aspect to it. After the French tip, I did the little small details using those same gels to do the butterflies. These butterflies are a little bit different from how I would normally do them because I was trying to follow the shape that they did, which is like a little bit more of blocky butterflies. But by doing that, these butterflies came out so much better than how I normally do them. I absolutely love how these ones look. And then I also love just the added little filigree next to the butterflies. I thought that this was just a beautiful design, and imagine a full set of these. So pretty. Next up, we have a Hello Kitty and Saw mashup nail from Hannah Emily. This design is so cool and creative. I love me a black and white French tip, and surprisingly the spiral was not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be, and I actually feel like it came out really well. I keep saying this, but imagine just like even a whole set of just spiral French tips, it would look amazing. But on top of the French tip, I had to do some glitter blood, so I used this reflective gel just because it's glittery and, you know, we'll give it that little bit of flash. As far as the Hello Kitty goes, I blocked everything out, and I felt like I actually got a really good shape on this, even with both bows being blocked out with it. I felt like filling in the bows were easy, but the face did take me quite some time just to get the spacing right. The outline of the bows and the little spiral on the cheek also took me quite a bit of time. However, I love how it came out. I think that this is my best Hello Kitty I've ever done by far. She almost looks officially licensed. So we're getting there. This design would also be great with a whole set of different Sanrio characters in this style, just different colors. I think that would look so cool. Second to last, we have a creepy clown inspired design by Diana, Like the Princess. Bonus points if you use black light activated nail polish. Of course, starting out with our square tip, and then I used the Apres gels right here, and actually a lot of neon colors already have a like fluorescence to them in a black light without it being like a special pigment or anything like that, and these ones do, except for the blue. The blue is pretty light in this case and wouldn't match the blue that they had, so I used that same blue color from Ball Pit Nails. The background looked to me kind of like paint strokes, so I kind of left it with that texture. For the clowns, I did what I normally do and I just went and blocked everything out in white and then went in with the color details, also doing color blocking. I really love the style of nail art that they did in this, because although my clowns do not look exactly like theirs, they did end up looking very similar just because of the thick black outlines, and it gave me a lot of room for things to not have to be super precise. So I love how they drew this. And the clowns did end up looking very creepy. Like I said though, the blue was not blacklight activated and I wanted it all to be blacklight activated. So I did mix up a clear with some blue glow powder and went over the blue with that. That way the blue would also glow along with all the other colors, and I'm happy to tell you it is blacklight activated. And my final 10th nail art drawing design before we get into the sculpted ones is from Anonymous, and this is a Halloween dog nail, and I thought it was so adorable. They said, "This is a round nail, my fave shape that doesn't get enough love, with a purple gradient, sparkles, and a pink dog wearing a witch hat." And I love that they did a round nail because I almost never see that. So I used my extra long pipe tips from E-Nail for this because they have that nice round shape that they love. After I put my opaque purple down, I used a jelly purple to ombre down to give it that nice gradient effect, and this Nails by Dev ombre brush worked so great for that. I'm so happy to have this brush now. Because there are also sparkles, I went in with one of the Secret Nail Affair jelly gels because I love that it has the hollow sparkles in it and everything was purple, so it matched perfectly. I did my best to block out the dog and the witch hat all in one. I definitely need to start breaking down designs into shapes and doing it that way because I kind of just go for it and that doesn't always end up the best. But I feel like I did thankfully end up doing it in this case where everything just kind of worked out how it should. I love that this dog is like an unnatural color and that it's pink. It's almost like, you know, not like Clifford the big red dog, but like, I don't know, whatever, the big pink dog. As usual though, I struggled a little bit with the face, and their face looks so cute and adorable, and my face kind of just ended up looking like a blank stare. But I do feel like the drawing did come across. It just looks like a little bit of a different expression. And because there was a lot of dark colors in this, I did go and outline absolutely everything in this, the collar and the hat. Then I went on to do the paws. In the past, I've really struggled with paw prints, but these ones came out so cute, so I'm so happy about that. And lastly, I put on the moon and put a top coat on, and that is the last nail art drawing design. So all in all, these 10 nails I think took me about 15-16 hours, and I am so happy that I can actually wear them for Halloween. I love looking at them, and I love that I can actually like wear your guys' designs. Of course, that is not all though. We will get into the sculpted designs in a moment, but first, of course, I need to do honorable mentions. These next ones were definitely in the running that I wanted to do. I originally wanted to do 15 nails, but I only got to do 13 because after 13 nails, I had spent about 30 hours doing all of these nails, and at some point I just kind of have to stop. So here are some of the absolutely amazing designs that unfortunately I did not have time to do, but I love. There's this blood bag nail from Desmo Dust Tattoo. Hopefully that's right. And there were a lot of options for this one. They said that it could be an aquarium nail or it could be drawn, but I feel like this would be such a cool aquarium nail that if this were to be done, it has to be an aquarium nail. This is such a cool idea. This design by X Abby Davies is so cute. I love when Halloween things are like cute and pastel, and this cauldron is such a cute idea. They said it could be drawn on or sculpted, but once again, I feel like it would be best sculpted. Another amazing sculpted nail would be this Oogie Boogie by Not Albany. Hopefully that's right. This would be such a cool sculpture along with the little mini dice. That would be so fun to make, and I love that little touch on it. This Anonymous cat design is so cute. They said it's a cat cosplaying as a ghost, and I think that's just so adorable. I actually attempted and still may attempt to do this design by Rachel Z. The arms and legs would be attached using rings, and I personally just did not want to sculpt the arms and legs, so I went out and actually tried to find some like skeleton earrings or, you know, just some sort of skeleton jewelry charm that had dangly legs and arms, and I could not find it. I was only able to find a little bit of Halloween jewelry, but other than that, everything had been changed to Christmas already, so that was unfortunate. I went to like 3 different stores looking for something like that. I felt like it would have been an easy thing to find, but it was not. The idea of like attaching these things is so fun. This little pink ghost by Emily Whitting Makeup.Nail. It's so cute. I love that the ghost is pink, and this is very well drawn, but I feel like if I did it, it would not be that well drawn. This like witch on the moon clouds design by Kendra France is super cool. I love the idea. And lastly, this little Care Bear nail. It is so cute, and I love that they actually like drew it out to me. I feel like they drew it so well on the nail that this would be an amazing reference to look at in terms of like proportions on it, and it's so cute. And that is it for the honorable mentions. There were still so many cool, amazing designs that I unfortunately just cannot show you all of them. So now let's get into our 3 sculpted designs. Our first sculpted design is from Horror No Sumi, and I'm sure most of you can recognize this. This is the ring nail, and the design for it is so creative. I also love that it's not entirely just creepy because there is so much pink, and the VHS charm on it is just so cool, and I definitely wanted to make that. So let's get into the process of making the ring nail. I'm going to start with the VHS tape, and we're gonna make it. I kind of went through like the toy aisles at Target to see if I could find like a mini VHS tape somewhere that I could just like paint, but I could not. I'm sure that if I wanted to, I could order one and do that, but if I can't have it immediately, I'll just make it. So I'm gonna use my pink Sissy clay. I love this is the exact color we need, although I do feel like this is going to take quite a bit of this. I feel like it is a bit crumbly after sitting around for a while. I'm gonna just pour on a teeny tiny bit of alcohol, just like a single drop, to just kind of help it smooth together a little bit more. And much better. You know, thankfully, I don't think this is going to be too hard to make since we just have to do, you know, a little rectangle. Although I do want to make sure that we get it flat. We're definitely getting somewhere. What do we think? I think it turned out pretty good. I think I'm going to just cure this. Everything else will be painted on. I'm gonna just file up the edges just a little bit, but I'm pretty happy with how it looks. I'm gonna use the backside just because it's so much more flat, and I do see that little divot there, so I'm gonna just start off with the base coat, also to just make it easier to paint. Get everything perfectly smooth and ready. I'm gonna grab out my tiny gels. I feel like these colors are perfect. I might need a hot pink one, we'll see. White F gel, and then white and grape soda from Nails by Dev. Okay, let's get started on painting this. I think I should start in the center with that little white box, and that will help me scale everything else out. Now what I'm really worried about is doing the Japanese characters. I will be leaving the text for last because that's going to absolutely be the hardest. So I'm going to start just making some of those details. Might need to darken that up. Okay, now I'm going to attempt the Japanese. It says Sadako, and I'm gonna do my best because I know that even like a change of one line can change the meaning, so I'm gonna really try to keep it very precise. That is so hard doing this small. Oh my gosh. I'll go back after and try to clean it up a bit. And I'm gonna do that with how I would not normally do that and go back in with more like white paint to try to clean it up, because I think if I try to touch it up with a brush right now or a little cotton swab thing, I think I'm just gonna smear it really badly. And here we are. I truly did my best on that. Doing anything that small is quite difficult, let alone a language you don't know. So here it is. I don't know if I want to do a shiny or matte top coat. I think a matte top coat would be more fitting. So I'm going to take my Nails by Dev matte top coat, which I absolutely love. The first time I used it was on the Purge mask nail, and I was so impressed with it. I also love how like smushy this brush is. It feathers out so much. I love it. Just keep the edges nice and crisp. Although I was so confused at first because it is not a non-wipe top coat, and I don't think I've ever had a wipe matte top coat, and so I kept putting it back in the lamp thinking I just wasn't curing it long enough. But if you just wipe it, it's matte and it looks so good. I'll drill the hole in this when we drill it in the nail itself, so let's get on to that part. So I'm trying to decide how I want to do the hair. They said that I could sculpt it or paint it on, and I'm not quite sure how I would sculpt it to look so like thin and like stringy, I guess. I'm not sure if I could really sculpt hair to do it any justice, so I think that I might paint it. So I think most of what will be on this part is just the well, and then I can paint the rest. I think that sounds good. Let's do the well first. So let's get to it. I'm going to do the same color for the well that I used for the VHS tape. And I'm gonna start off by just kind of smushing it on here with my fingers, because we're gonna add texture to it, so it does not have to be super, super perfect, but I do want it to spread out on the whole thing. I'm gonna do that like little top part separately. So now I'm gonna kind of just go in with my tools and try to create a stone type texture. These silicone tools really come in handy for stuff like this. And then just to help it make that indent, I do dip it in a little bit of alcohol. The alcohol kind of almost like melts it a little bit, so it will be like a smooth divot in it and not be like crumbly, if that makes any sense. If you've tried to like carve this type of stuff at all, you'll know that it kind of ends up crumbling, but not if you use some alcohol. I love how they decided to go with a pink well for this. I feel like it's coming out pretty good so far. So here's all the texture. I'm going to cure this part now, and then I'm going to put that like top brick part on. This is coming out surprisingly good. I didn't think I was going to be able to like actually get the texture looking right on the well. I'm excited. I hope this is how the whole day goes. Now we are ready to get on with the body. So I'm going to start out with a gray base for this, just because she's supposed to look, you know, like sickly and dead. And the clothes are supposed to look a little dingy, so when I put white over it, I feel like it'll just give a better effect than just layering white. And I'm gonna plan out where I'm gonna put everything. I'll most likely end up filing the corners of this, but I just wanted to give myself enough room to do all of the hair and the face and everything like that just to begin with. I didn't want to just like start with a stiletto and then not have enough room. And then hair, probably going down to almost the bottom. All right. Good plan. Now I'm gonna just go in and start painting it. So I don't know about you guys, but The Ring was one of the few movies that actually scared me as a kid. I was pretty much allowed to watch whatever, and me and my friends were obsessed with horror movies. Of course, still am. But I don't think any of us really ever got super scared except for The Ring, and then I think also The Grudge. Both of those freaked me out. I think like paranormal type things freak me out a little bit more than other type of horror movies. I know that this is the girl from The Ring and not The Grudge, but I just feel like this would be a fun story to tell anyway. When I was a teenager, my friend's mom ran a community center, and so every Halloween, me and my friend would volunteer to be like scare actors or whatever for the little haunted house that they put on every year. And this was not like a serious haunted house. This was like a community center for kids, more or less. But me and my friend, this is my like longest time best friend, we always spent Halloween together, except like this year and maybe last year. A lot of years I've gone home for Halloween just because we've like always spent it together. But anyway, what I would do most years is, you know how the girl in The Grudge can crawl with her like hands facing backwards? So I'm double jointed in multiple parts of my body. So I was always able to like crawl like that at people. And that was the one thing that always got everyone, because even if you weren't scared by something like jumping out at you, most people were freaked out the fact that I could put my arms that way. And it was a little bit of a freaky thing to see. I've not done that in a really long time though. While I can do it, it's not necessarily comfortable. And in fact, I have not watched The Ring or The Grudge in a really long time. I feel like because it's so long ago that I've seen it, more what I remember is like Scary Movie's version of The Ring, where when she crawls out of the TV, that woman tries to fight her. So for the blood splatter, I have figured out a method to how I like to do it. So what I do is I take a red gel. You don't need much, just a drop, if it'll ever go. And I usually take a little bit of a darker gel because we are going to be thinning it out, and that will dilute the color just a tiny bit. And if you use like a really bright red, it might end up looking like, you know, more whatever the undertone is, it might end up looking a little more pink. And then I put a little bit of alcohol in there and mix it up really well. This will thin it out a lot, and when you do this, you're basically going to need to let a lot of the alcohol like evaporate off of whatever you're doing before you cure it. And then I do not want any on this, so I'm gonna hold this over. But I use like a pipette to do the splatter. I know that previously I've tried like a straw and stuff like that. I just don't like that. I feel like this is a much better method, and I kind of just like grab some and then just squeeze really hard, fast, and it's perfect, isn't it? Like, oh my gosh. And I usually never have like an issue with big droplets or anything like that. Perfect. Look at that. But like I said, now this is, you know, there are droplets and stuff like that. So you are going to want to let some of the alcohol evaporate off before you cure it. I don't usually have an issue with it spreading very much, but I mean, like, you can cure it. And like, if you do cure it, like right now, you might end up with like little bubbles just because it is so liquidy. While I wait for it to evaporate off a little bit, I am going to take all the red off of the face. And then I will go ahead and cure it when any of these like bubbles are much flatter than they were. Before I do the eye and the hair, I'm gonna go in with a layer of base coat just to smooth everything out a little bit, because I'll have some unevenness from the red and just the different layers and stuff. And I'm gonna go in and do the eye now. I feel like that looks more of like a left eye than a center eye, but I'm gonna roll with it, I think. Now for some eyelashes. You know what? I think it actually looks good, a little bit smudged there at the bottom. For the hair, I think I'm gonna do this shading gel first and then maybe go over with a darker black depending on how many layers I need to do of this, because I feel like if I do it in the shading gel, it'll give it a lot more dimension opposed to just doing it in just solid black. We'll start, say, here. Kind of need it to go over the face. Okay, that actually looks so good. I think I'm gonna just keep layering it up. Okay, I feel like the hair looks good. I am a little confused though, like what I should do with this transition part. I guess like I should do it as if it's like the head to body, right? But I just feel like it doesn't feel right because the eye is so big. I have truly no idea. I almost want to just do like a gradient from this beige-ish gray color to this white beige color. I know this is more like a conceptual type of art. Like, it doesn't have to look like right, but I don't know, something just feels like not right to like draw a line there. So I think I'm just going to like gradient these two together. They almost are already, but I do need to cover up that like planning outline that I made. I'm once again gonna do a little bit of creative liberty, but I almost feel like I want to put some blood splatter like to here to like fill it in up a little bit more. I think I do. Just a couple little touches, you know? There we go. I feel like filling that in right there was good. So now I'm going to top everything off with a matte top coat. And I'm now going to go over only some parts with a shiny top coat and a little bit on some of these bigger pieces of blood. And then kind of like a shine on the hair. And lastly, I need to put a hole in the VHS tape, and I do like to do this by hand just because it's usually pretty easy. I feel like it's a lot more precise and you have a way less chance of, you know, accidentally messing up. And that looks perfect too, and we're just going to link those together and we are done. There were quite a few frame nails that were submitted for this. We had this aged mirror frame nail by Sella, this face and ghost frame nail by Bored Amber, a more like, I guess, creepy and fleshy frame nail from Mia Armijo. And then lastly, we had a corpse bride frame nail from Katie Rhea. But the frame nail that I decided to do is from Mags, and the glow element on this one just sent it right over the edge. Not only is it like supposed to glow, but the glow aspects of the nail are essentially supposed to be invisible when in normal light, and I thought that was such a cool idea. And just like the nail that was supposed to glow under a black light, I was determined to also execute this one so that it glowed super bright in the dark. So of course we're gonna start with the haunted mirror type thing. I feel like I wouldn't know what to call it since it's just black, a chalkboard, a haunted chalkboard. One of you said that for your decals like this that you use a peel off base coat on the bottom, and I don't know why I didn't think of that. I hate when I just don't think of like such an obvious thing, and that's one of them. But I am also going to do a regular base coat on top of that, just so that none of the design that I'm going to do like separates from any of the parts. This will also level everything out. We'll wipe it so it's not sticky. There we go. Now we are ready, even though you guys cannot see what is happening whatsoever because I can barely see what's happening. I have a very particular way I want to execute this. I want the parts of this that's gonna glow to really glow. I do have a plan. So first I'm going to start with this Glow Groovy Glob gel in green, and I am going to make the frame out of this. My frame might end up being a little more simple than theirs just because I am making it out of this, and it's kind of hard to see because this stuff is like green but not like crazy green, still kind of like transparent. And then I'm gonna put glow pigment on top of it so that it really glows, because I don't want like a faint glow, you know. I don't want to like have it just be like, oh, I can kind of see it. Like I want it to like light up my hand. I need to size out how big of the frame I want. Right, like you see that. I'm gonna wait for it to settle, and then I'm gonna just flash cure that way it does not like smooth down, although this glob gel does not really spread at all, so it's not much of a worry. Okay, we want it here to here. I'm not gonna lie, I was hoping I could do this the easy way and use a frame that I already have, like one of the charms, but I definitely do not have a frame that's this big. There we go, top and bottom. And then I'll do the sides as well, just so I have like a solid outline to follow. It's really hard to see, but I'm trying to do a circle type texture on this so that it does look like it has like some ornate characteristics. I don't want it to just be like a literal oval and call it good. So I want this to be a little bit thicker, and I was thinking about it and I was like, oh my gosh, I have that Embo powder that I can make this even thicker. This stuff is thick, but it's not like thick enough to like sculpt or like really make it stay in place super well. So I did like a tiny little test to see if this would work well, and I feel like it did. So I don't know how ornate I'm gonna be able to get the frame to look, but I feel like I'm gonna at least be able to get like a decently sized and clean frame doing this, and it'll glow. Hopefully very well. Okay, this kind of got away from me. I'm gonna try to salvage it, and if not, I'll make a new one. Although I'm trying to get it off, and even with that peel off base coat, like what is happening? I cannot get, I don't know what it is with the, maybe it's just this lamination. There we go. I think I'm gonna like file it down and make it smooth everywhere, and then just like re-add small little details, and then that should hopefully be fine. I think I just got a little too carried away because I feel like it was fine at first, And then I kept adding more and more, and then it just got globby, and then I tried to fix it, and you guys know how it goes.
Got no reason to be afraid. You're glowing in the dark. You're glowing in the dark. Glowing in the dark. I feel it in my heart. You're glowing in the dark. Glowing in the dark. Yeah, you're glowing in the dark. You can make it go away. Glowing in the dark.
Okay, I'm considering it salvaged. It's not that bad. I don't think it's gonna be like as cool as their drawing, but I feel like it looks all right in its own way. Because of how I want to do this, I need to reattach it to the piece of paper. And then for real, I'm just gonna do the couple little touches I want to do on it. All right, so I feel like that looks pretty good. So now I'm gonna just get some clear gel and go over all of this just to kind of like meld everything together, but also it'll give us a sticky layer to stick more of the glow pigment. So now I'm going to like partially cure it, and I'm gonna get my glow pigment. This one is the Clear to Green from Nails by Dev. And we'll just get a little bit of that and just brush it on. We'll know it's on because it'll look matte. And then I'm going in with another layer of the clear gel just to seal it all in. And now I'm leveling out the bottom of this just because it was not very level. And then I'm gonna get some black gel and I'm gonna fill it in from here while it's still on the paper and everything like that. I feel like that's the easiest thing to do, and that's the easiest way to make sure that the back like stays with the frame. I'm getting this off carefully. Because I use so much black, it definitely needs to cure from this side also. Now the frame, this is the back of it. The frame is like a nice gold color. I don't think I'm going to achieve that if I want it to glow as much as I want it to, but I do want to add a little bit of a more warm tone to this. So I'm going to put some orange jelly gel on the back side of this and see if we can get like a different hue from the underside into the top. I feel like you cannot tell. You can almost like at an angle. Dang. Okay, let me try with a different color. Perhaps a yellow. Nope. Okay, I think I'm probably gonna have to just do a light layer of jelly over the top. I don't think that'll tone down the glow too much. Gonna have to sacrifice a tiny bit. So a little bit of yellow jelly gel and the tiniest amount of a gold shimmer pigment just to give that little bit of like a gold effect. You know what? I'll also put some of the glow pigment in there also for safe measure. Like the thing with the glow pigment is it is mostly clear, but there's that like tiniest bit of hue of the green, but it shouldn't really matter in this yellow. And you know, I know that this is one of those times that I'm sure so many of you are gonna have way better ideas on how you would do this, but you know, I just can't think of everything all the time. But you know, that's okay. Like I'm not gonna get it all the time. Okay, that's gonna be perfect, I think. That'll give just enough of a color change, I think. Make it still look like more of a frame, less of a glob of green goo. And now I'm going to paint a little ghosty, and I mixed a tiny bit of that glow powder with a clear gel, and then I'm going to paint it with that, and then I'm also going to dust a little bit of the powder on top also. And I think this will make it bright enough. It's definitely not going to glow as bright as everything else just because it is on this black and it's not going to be nearly as thick as the other pieces, but that's okay. Since glow in the dark stuff shows under, you know, like black light, UV and stuff, I can see the ghost in my lamp and it looks so good. I can't wait for you guys to see. I know you guys won't see like the finished product until the very end. I'm so excited to show you because I think it's actually going to turn out how we want. And then I'm just going over and doing the eyes in black, and then I'm just going to top that off. I may change the finish depending on how the final nail looks. I might change everything to matte, some parts glossy, I don't know yet. But we're gonna just do this nail really quick. I'm using this gel from Bebla. It matches the color that they put perfectly. And then I'm assuming this is just like wall paneling, so I'm just doing this very quick. This is very basic and very easy, thankfully, since we spent so much time on the ghost chalkboard.
You're glowing in the dark, glowing in the dark. I feel it in my heart. You're glowing in the dark, glowing in the dark.
And then I'm just doing the same thing that I did for the ghost for the run and the drips, basically just mixing some clear with that glow powder and then also dusting it over. I feel like doing the dusting over really makes it pop, and everything has been curing just fine. And while you might be able to like faintly see the difference in like levels of the gel, there's only a very slight tint of that like green glow powder, which is definitely more prominent on like the black on the ghost chalkboard and not so much on like this little bit of design, since there's other things going on. And lastly, let's attach the little, still calling it a chalkboard. It looks so cute. For the last sculpted nail, while more like, I guess, bloody or like gory things don't bother me, there is a limit I can do even just on nail art per guidelines and stuff like that. I've seen some makeup videos even get dinged because it's like too realistic, but I did want to do some version of that type of style, and this one from Sarah is perfect. I love that it has like the random teeth and eyes. Little sculpted teeth on Halloween nails are some of my favorite things, but unfortunately they are so unwearable because they're so fragile. But I absolutely love how they look, and I felt like this one would just look so cool. So let me show you guys how I did it. So definitely this is sculpted, but I'm going to put the base of where the red and the skin are going to be on the nail first, just with gel. I think that'll be a good outline, and I don't have a skin colored like clay gel right now, so I'm gonna have to use a clear and color it. So I feel like it'll just be easier having the underside not be like clear or white underneath, so that's just easier. Same with the red, you know, that way the outline's already just there. Should probably make this side a little bit bigger. Maybe should have used a bit of a darker red for this, but maybe once we have everything layered on, we can reevaluate. What I really probably will do is probably use a jelly red over the top. I feel like jelly red a lot of the time gives like the best blood effect for it. There we are. There's the outline for this. Then I'm going to use this gel for the skin. I think one of these. I need to honestly just get some like opaque nude gels because I'm always using these and that's not always the best. I'll grab a set ASAP, promise. Might need a lighter one. Okay, yes. Although the difference is not crazy, I'm gonna use this one because the skin on this is very pale, even paler than me. All right, we're already looking good. Ooh, I'm excited for this one. Getting started, I'm going to use this trippy gel. This is white. I love how much comes in these. First, let's make the eyes. This is my first time using the trippy gel from Nails by Dev. Earlier, you guys saw me use the Sissy Clay, and just from touching this, like just now, this is so soft and it's not that sticky. Like, this is substantially softer than the Sissy Clay. Now, my Sissy Clay has absolutely been sitting around for a lot longer, but I don't remember it being like this malleable when I first got it. Also, I think this is probably way too big of an eye. It's like, this is pretty soft and it's also not super sticky, which is really nice. Like, I had to use a new glove today, which I usually really try to just like reuse one like the whole time and whatever, but I couldn't get all of the pink residue off of my other ones, and that wasn't gonna work since we were working with white. But like, look at how that's just like coming off so nice. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is so soft. Like, I can just like stick my finger on that. Well, I'm impressed. I will be buying all the colors of that very soon. I'm going to leave the eyes kind of this like disc shape because they're going to be laying flat and we can build them up with like, you know, like clear gel for like a bubble. But this way they like lay flat on the design. It'll look the same. For the eyebrow color, I'm going to use this tiny gel. It's like the perfect match for it. Okay, let me see if these have any. Oh, and they're not sticky at all. Nice. I love that. Let's make the eyes. Thankfully, this will be probably the easiest part of the sculpting process today. I think the pupils look a little small, but I feel like they look kind of scared that way. Like just a little unsettling. So I'm gonna keep it. Now, how will these remove from this? Let's see if they'll come off easily. Nope, nothing comes off easily on these things. Oh wait, yay. They're chunky enough they can just be like, perfect. That was so easy to make those eyes. I want to make like 1,000 of them now and just have like a full hand of just eyes. But let's get back to this. So I'm going to sculpt the skin with the clear. Let's see if the clear is as malleable as the white. Easy removal tab. We'd love to see it. Ooh, it is soft. Okay, I'm gonna just grab a little bit of this. Give it a little bit of a roll to kind of put it here and then feather it out. If you're doing any sculpting or working with like polygel or, you know, any form of more firm gel, you need to get yourself some silicone tools because these make it so much easier. Like I could not imagine trying to just do this with like my fingers or a brush. It just would like not work the same. And I'm trying to just flatten this over the whole skin part more or less, because I do want there to be a difference in height. And also we kind of need a wall for the teeth to like hang off of. And same for over here. And then we'll make a divot here for these stitches. Some nice big one. So glad I made the outlines before. Otherwise, I would have just kind of been shooting in the dark there for that. And then I'm gonna go with some alcohol now on my tool and just kind of smooth everything out. Thankfully, all these clays like do smooth out pretty well with some alcohol. Now that I got all of like the skin part taken care of, I'm gonna make all of the teeth. And I'm feeling like this is going to be fairly easy with this stuff. So I'm gonna just take a bit and I can actually like roll it out on my glass here, which is really nice. Like it's not really getting stuck. Maybe if I leave it for too long, it'll get stuck, but I mean, not yet. And I'm gonna pretty much, for the most part, like roll out a bit right there and then cut it off. And that'll be a tooth. And then just kind of like repeat that. I don't think I'm gonna be able to get them like super sharp, but yeah, just like that. And then I'll put them over here and probably cure every like couple just so that they don't lose their shape or anything. And we'll have teeth. And this is going so much quicker than I thought. I thought this was gonna be like a whole ordeal. I know I've made teeth in the past and it took a really long time, but this is gonna be no time at all. Hopefully this should be enough teeth. Not all of them are perfect, so hopefully you'll be able to like scrounge through them and find good ones. But let's get back to the nail now that we made the teeth. I think I do need to darken up the red part a bit, so I'm gonna try this red jelly gel and let's see if that makes it look better. Okay, you know what? I think it does. It darkens it up just enough. And I think it's also gonna give some like good dimension to it since it is like, you know, partially clear. Oh yes, definitely. And then I think to stick these in, I'm gonna stick the, oh no, are these eyes gonna be too big? Oh no, they definitely are way too big. Dang. All right, I've made new eyes now. So hopefully these will fit much better. That is much more fitting. Perfect, I'm gonna cure that. I was about to say let's do the teeth, but we have to put the skin on. That sounded weird. You guys know what I mean. I'm doing a couple layers of this because it is obviously very transparent and it's fine if it's not 100% opaque. I feel like that might make it look even more realistic, I guess. But I definitely do want to know like what this part is. So we're gonna need multiple layers to do that. And then we can put the teeth on. Now it is teeth time. You know what I just realized? that this was supposed to sort of like zipper in at the top. I don't know where that got lost. I think that I was looking at the bottom part whenever I was drawing both, but you know, we're gonna just go with it. Hopefully the creator of this design doesn't mind too much. But I'm gonna just put some sort of like bling gel over here and look for, you know, good teeth to attach. Ooh, that one looks good. Ooh, I like how that like is sort of like almost pointing up a little bit. So it'll be like pokey. Perfect. Okay. I was worried that some of these teeth weren't gonna work, but I think it'll be fine. So what does everyone have going on for Halloween this year? I have completely pretty much missed out on like every single fun little event or anything going on this month. I don't even know why. I just have not really felt like, I don't know, doing anything for the season. I just feel like everything still doesn't really feel the same for me. I didn't even go to my storage unit and get any of my Halloween decorations out this year. I did get a couple like, you know, like Halloween themed items this year, like at TJ Maxx. I got, you know, like the Hello Kitty Halloween plates and stuff like that. But other than that, I have not decorated pretty much at all. I really just like have not done any of it this year. I wanted to, but I just like have not been able to get myself to like actually do it. So I don't think that's gonna be happening much this year, which is okay. There's gonna be many more Halloweens, right? David's and I wedding anniversary is on Halloween, but we still don't usually do much if I am home, if I'm not like out of town. And I have not introduced her to you guys yet. I will soon. I was thinking about doing like a chit chat and nails video to just do some like life updates, because we do have a new puppy and she's definitely a puppy. I will introduce her, but if you don't follow my second Instagram, you wouldn't know, but she requires quite a bit of extra help. So we definitely do not like leaving her for more than a couple hours right now. But anyway, I hope that most of you have done some fun Halloween or fall activities. I was trying to go grocery shopping later, but I think I'm gonna be here all night just putting these teeth on. Like, teeth aren't hard necessarily like this to put on. It's just really time consuming if you want them like at a certain angle. For the stitches, I am going to take a piece of thread and I'm gonna try to hold it tight, but I'm gonna put like a no wipe top coat on it, just like all up in there. And then I'm going to cure it and then cut these into teeny tiny pieces for the stitches, because I think that will be cool, opposed to like trying to draw them on or make like really thin pieces out of the clay. I feel like this will look a lot better. I imagine I should not need like too many of these. Are they just flying off somewhere? Okay, I'll find them. Okay, they're all over my desk. See, there's one, another. That should be plenty of pieces. And I think that thankfully these will be pretty easy to place as long as they're the right size. It's kind of hard to like guesstimate how far apart things need to be. Oh, that looks so good. I thought I was making these too big, but thankfully they're not. Also, not that it really matters, but this thread is actually reflective. I mean, like, you'll only really see it in like such a teeny tiny amount, but I feel like it's that like add like a fun little element. On these X'd ones, you kind of have to just use the thread as is, which you could do either way. The only reason I coated this thread is because it is very prone to fraying. Ooh, I love the thread like this. And I believe we just need to top coat everything now. Like the last one, I feel like some things on this nail need to be matte and others need to be like really shiny. So I'm just going in and doing some things matte, kind of like the skin should be matte-ish, but the red should be shiny, as should the eyes, but the stitches I think should be matte also. I'm just gonna go through and just like pick and choose. I'm trying to not touch the teeth at all because there might be a little bit of shine on them, but overall they're matte and I think they look fine how they are. I don't think they need a top coat. And the last thing is just doing our little wipe on the matte top coat, and that's it. It looks so creepy. I love the teeth. The teeth are actually a little sharp. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this Draw My Nails. I am so happy I was able to do so many of your guys' designs. Please let me know if this format is okay, because I can do a lot more designs if I don't talk while I'm doing it. I do of course do all of this from home, and I have my husband that also works from home and 3 dogs, one of them being a puppy, in a really loud neighborhood. So unfortunately I get interrupted a lot while I'm filming, and I have to take a lot of breaks if I'm talking while I am doing the nail, which I prefer, but having to stop and only do it when it's quiet can sort of make a hour design turn into like a 2.5 hour design, if that makes sense. So let me know if this is okay, or if you guys only want me to do like 5 designs but talk through all of them. Let me know. Either way, please make sure to give this video a like if you want me to continue to do Draw My Nails. I know I love this series and I know a lot of you do, but I want to make sure that the continuation of it isn't getting boring or anything like that. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you again everyone who submitted a design. I appreciate it a ton, and I will hopefully see you next time. Bye!